President Trump hits back at former Defense Secretary James Mattis after he criticized the White House's handling of the nationwide protests. One America's chief White House correspondent, Rion, with more.
In a two-for-one punch, President Trump unleashed on his former Secretary of Defense, General James Mattis, while also making a statement about former President Obama, citing disagreement with Obama on nearly every point with one exception. The only thing Barack Obama and I have in common is that we both had the honor of firing Jim Mattis, the world's most overrated general. I asked for his letter of resignation and felt great about it. This in response to an article penned by General James Mattis Wednesday, scolding the president for daring to use military force against violent riots in Democrat states and cities, a move the president reserves the right to utilize under the Insurrection Act. Mattis deemed such a move as having a dividing effect. Under President Obama, General Mattis was commander of General Command. Obama fired Mattis over his hawkish approach towards Iran. Under President Trump, Mattis was appointed Secretary of Defense. The breaking point between President Trump and Mattis was the fact Mattis wanted to keep troops in Syria. This was the final straw for President Trump. His primary strength was not military, but rather personal public relations. I gave him a new life, things to do and battles to win, but he seldom brought home the bacon. I didn't like his leadership style or much else about him, and many others agree. Glad he is gone. Mattis's latest language of peace and unity is ironic, considering Mattis has long been viewed as a cult icon for his controversially aggressive, kill every threat to America approach. One of many famous Mattis quotes include, "Find the enemy that wants to end this experiment of American democracy and kill every one of them until they are so sick of the killing that they leave us and their freedoms intact." That hawkish Mattis penned a dovish article to poke the president is seen by many Mattis fans as contradictory to his nature, and perhaps the first indication that Mattis is embittered over being fired by two presidents in his military career. That Mattis is attacking President Trump for taking a hardline stance against rioting, burning, and terrorism is further ironic, considering the majority of Antifa rioters are demographically millennials, famed for their skinny pants and basement dwelling. Another Mattis quote, mocking the very demographic he now seems to defend, is this: "As I watch millennial men struggle to lift their bags into the overhead bin, I'm reminded how, expletive, we are if there is a draft." Mattis's article highlights the disagreement brewing over the possible use of the Insurrection Act in order to stop the rioting and destruction in Democrat states. OAN asked the White House Wednesday whether the Insurrection Act would indeed be used.
The Insurrection Act, Secretary Esper this morning said that he opposes it. The last time it was used was 1992. How close is the White House to actually using the Insurrection Act? Is that a last resort measure, or is this a real possibility at this moment?
Well, if you've noticed, the president has been going down a line of progression, and the first point was allow governors to do their job, allow mayors like Bill de Blasio to do their job. The police power, which is embedded in the 10th Amendment of this Constitution, that's how this country is supposed to work. Governor Cuomo is supposed to ensure that his state is protected. Mayor de Blasio is supposed to ensure that New York City is protected. They failed at their job. There was looting all across New York City. There were fires burning here in D.C. when Mayor Bowser was in control. So this president on Monday took definitive action with that speech saying, if necessary, the military is here. You must surge the National Guard. He took action and he shored up and made sure that D.C. remained peaceful. So this president has gone and said the National Guard is the next step. That seemed to be working here in New York, in D.C. We'll see if it continues to work. But rest assured, he has the sole authority to invoke the Insurrection Act, and if necessary, he will do so to protect American citizens.
The White House maintains that the Insurrection Act is to be used if states and cities prove they are unable to protect innocent lives and property. Rion, One American News, the White House.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.